Hello, welcome to 10 at 10. My name is Michael Ramage. I'm the director of the Cyber Education Research Center here at Murray State University, and welcome back to 10 at 10. 10 at 10 is brought to you through a partnership between Murray State University, Grow West, the Technology Council of West Kentucky, KY Innovation, and local partner Sprocket Innovation in Paducah, and the Kentucky Innovation Station in Madisonville. Welcome to episode 197. I tell you, every time I say the number, or at least here lately, as we get closer to 200, it's amazing to me that we've done 200 or almost 200 of these. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about a couple of different things. First of all, we continue talking about Cybersecurity Awareness Month. It is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we have talked about passwords and password managers. And today we're going to talk about multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is a code that is sent to your phone, to your email, preferably through some sort of authenticator app. We take the information that we have, and then actually, let me even take a step further. When we're talking about multi-factor authentication, two-factor authentication, when you log into a website with a username and a password, that is a factor to authenticate you are who you say you are. That's one method that we decided that we're going to take this one approach, and we're going to determine we are who we say we are, and we're going to do it by this factor. Using your phone, using your biometrics, using your eyes, using something that you have, like a phone, something that you are, like a biometric, is a second factor. So sometimes you hear it two-factor authentication, sometimes you hear it multi-factor authentication. The goal and what we're trying to encourage people to do is to use a second factor to authenticate that they are who they say they are. That's the goal. That's what we would prefer that you do. Matter of fact, you should do multi-factor authentication on every single device that you have that allows you to do it. And what it means is, when it first came out, even me, I thought, I don't want to do this because I don't want to have to authenticate every single time I log into something. You don't have to every time you log in. A lot of times you'll do it once a month or once every few weeks. But if you try to log in from a device that it doesn't know, it's going to require you to do multi-factor authentication. You're going to have to prove that you are who you say you are because you're on a device that I don't recognize. It's that simple. That's what we're trying to get you to do. Where do you do it? That's also, you should use it everywhere it has financial information, everywhere that you have personal information. So your bank, your credit card, your shopping locations, Amazon, Facebook, your email. Perhaps you've heard me talk about it on here before. Email is probably the most important account that you have, because if you can't get into your bank account, use retrieve password. A lot of times your password sends an email link to your email account. So if I can, compromise your email account, then I can probably compromise your other accounts. All of those things start to get harder when you turn on two-factor, multi-factor authentication. So certainly you should use it. Email, financial, personal accounts, medical information accounts, all those types of accounts, you should have it turned on. You should use it on a very regular, permanent basis. This should be part of your DNA. It should be part of who you are in the online world. All right. So I've spent a lot of time on that. I want to spend just a little bit of time we have left, which, we're about halfway through, but talking about a term that has come up over the last several weeks over and over. If you joined us yesterday at IT Matters, you heard Brad Mathis with Keller Schroeder talk about it, but it's GRC. Governance, risk, compliance, risk management. It's governance, it's risk, it's compliance. It is something that is very unexciting. It's not exciting, but in the world that we're growing into, and I actually came across an article talking about it. You can see the link there at the bottom, but that in the world that we're growing in security risk, security lawsuits, compliance and liability are going hand in hand. So how do you ensure that you have the minimum amount of liability necessary to do all of these things? That's a challenge. Well, what is going to happen is that more and more in a legal proceeding, they're going to go back and say, hey, did you have proper governance? Did you comply with standards you're supposed to? Were you able to manage your risk? So what does it mean? Governance refers to the rules, the policies, the processes that you have to ensure that activities are aligned with business goals. Effective governance ensures that management can influence and direct activities across the organization. So governance is the rules and policies part. Risk is identifying, assessing, and mitigating the financial, legal, strategic, security risk. So a lot of people think about financial risk, that I'm not going to invest my money into a company that I'm not sure is going to make it. Yeah, stock market's risky. Stock market is more risky, although this year's been a good year, than if you do a bond or interest. Interest is going on a savings account is going to earn a lot less money, but it's probably not going to lose money. Stock market has had years where it lost money. I remember when I first started working at the university and was investing in my retirement, I lost money for the first 2 or 3 years. I was putting in more money than it was making. It was because of the dot-com bust of 2000. It was because of 9/11. It was because of the economy that followed that. There was a lot of reasons. Obviously, over the long haul, I've made a lot more money than I've lost in my retirement. But there was a risk during that short term. That's the same thing in security, is that we have risk. Can we eliminate every single risk? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that's frankly not what I am suggesting, nor should we do. What I am saying is that we can minimize the risk to an acceptable level. That risk level is whatever our organization wants to have. It's called a risk tolerance. What's our risk appetite? That's what we have to find. So anyway, there's a lot to that. And then finally, compliance. This is what we typically think about. I'm a HIPAA company, so I have to follow HIPAA because I'm a medical company. Or if you are doing business in Europe, you have to follow GDPR. Or in California, it's CCPA. HIPAA, FERPA, Sarbanes-Oxley. There's a lot of those industry standards that we have to comply with. Do we always comply with them? No. Should we? Absolutely. Here's the thing. As we move into this world of continuing and growing lawsuits against companies that have had data breaches, what do you stand back on? I don't care if you're a large company, a small company. If you don't have the ability to stand back on, we were following industry best practices, we had a process in place. Every company in the world's hackable. Every organization, including every government, is hackable if you have enough time, money, and resources. If you have the energy and the budget to do it, you can do it. But most attacks don't rely on unlimited budgets. Most attacks, most data breaches, it's because of some user. It's some basic issue. So what I am ultimately saying is that whether you're a small company or a large company, and we heard it again yesterday, GRC should be a governance, risk, and compliance should be a central part of everything that you do. That's how you should build out your policies. That's how you should build out your security program. That's how all technical controls, best practices, user training, that's how everything should flow. Auditing is based on your GRC strategy. That's the goal. That's where we should be. This is not a technical thing. Frankly, for me, I find this really interesting. I love this stuff. But for a lot of people, GRC is not something that they're interested in at all. They just want to get to plug in the firewall, plug in the thing that we need, and then be done with it. But the reality is that's not where we're at. We've got to make sure that we can show that we thought through all the different pieces, all the different parts, and that we're in compliance and ready and to be able to defend our decisions in court if something bad were to happen. Anyway, hope you found that interesting. Please reach out to me if you want to learn more. If you want to have a deeper conversation about GRC, reach out to me. We can have that conversation and talk about what you should do to better protect you and your organization. All right. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you next week back here on 10 to 10. Thank you.